It's easy to dismiss Test Drive Le Mans as just another licensed racer from the early 2000s, but that would be a mistake. While most racing titles of the era were focused on arcade-style drift mechanics or limited, circuit-based loops, the team at Melbourne House was doing something fundamentally different. They weren't just building a game, they were building a time-dilated 24-hour endurance simulator that pushed the Sega Dreamcast to its absolute architectural limit. With 24 cars on screen, real-time dynamic weather, and a lighting engine that could simulate the slow creeping transition from day to night and back to dawn, Test Drive Le Mans wasn't just a technical achievement for the platform, it was a masterclass in optimization. In this video, we're stripping back the bonnet. We're looking at how Melbourne House squeezed this level of fidelity out of 2 megabytes of VRAM, how their custom racing engine handled the physics of tyre wear, and why, decades later, this remains the gold standard for how to represent a marathon race on console hardware. Forget the nostalgia. Let's talk about the engineering. To understand Test Drive Le Mans, you first have to confront the state of the Test Drive brand at the turn of the millennium. By the time Le Mans arrived on the Dreamcast, the Test Drive name was arguably one of the most inconsistent franchises in gaming history. For nearly 40 years, the Test Drive label has been applied to a wildly disparate range of titles. While most racing franchises built clear identities, Gran Turismo meant simulation, Need for Speed meant street racing, the Test Drive series lacked a singular North Star. The origins, it began in 1987 as a high-concept, supercar-focused title where the core loop involved choosing a luxury vehicle and outrunning police on canyon roads. The pivot, by the late 90s, the brand had bounced between at least 14 different developers. This led to a confusing era where the name was slapped onto almost anything driving related to leverage brand recognition. This included arcade-style rally titles like V-Rally 2, rebranded as Test Drive V-Rally in North America, and off-road spin-offs like Test Drive Off-Road. A reputation by 2000, the Test Drive name was widely associated with a high volume of mediocre racing games. Because the series had become so diluted, many gamers and critics simply assumed that Le Mans would be more of the same. Another mid-tier arcade racer riding the coattails of a once famous name. This brand baggage is exactly why Test Drive Le Mans is such an anomaly. Despite being burdened by a serious reputation for quantity over quality, the Dreamcast version of Le Mans turned out to be a technical masterpiece that defied those low expectations. When the game launched, it was famously labelled the best game no one played. It was a victim of the Test Drive name. Gamers looked at the cover, saw the familiar logo, and kept walking unaware that Melbourne House had quietly produced one of the most ambitious endurance simulators of the era. The most staggering achievement of the engine was its ability to render 24 high-tech GT and prototype cars on screen simultaneously at a locked 30 frames per second. The comparison, for context, Sega GT, a prominent racer on the same hardware, could only manage 6 cars at once. The visual density. Each of these 24 vehicles featured real-time shadows, tyre smoke, skid marks, and even functional brake glow. LOAD management. Melbourne House utilised aggressive level of detail LOAD management to ensure that the console's limited resources were only spent on the cars nearest to the player, while maintaining the appearance of a full grid. While many racing games of the era relied on clean, generic engine loops, Melbourne House opted for a more visceral approach. Physics singed audio. The engine sounds were varied by vehicle class, GT1, GT2, prototype, and featured mechanical imperfections like gear shift, clunks, and realistic backfiring. Spatial audio. The game utilised sophisticated spatial mixing. You could hear the Doppler effect of opponents' cars on the other side of the track, providing a sense of scale to the race that helped ground the player in the endurance experience. Resource tracking, tyres lost traction as the race progressed, while fuel and oil levels steadily depleted, mandating strategic pit stops. Input handling, the physics system was designed to be effortless for newcomers via subtle natural feeling driving assists, while still providing a deep, demanding experience for experts. We've established that the engine was doing the heavy lifting, but the soul of this game, the reason you actually feel the weight of a 24-hour race, is found in 2 areas: the AI behaviour and the resource management loop. In most races from the 2000s, AI drivers were basically rail-based objects. They existed to block your line and that was it, but Melbourne House implemented a dynamic AI hierarchy here. These cars don't just race you, they race each other, they make mistakes. I've watched AI cars brake too late into the Mulsanne chicane, lock their wheels and lose position to the car behind. Then there's the pit stop strategy. This is where the game shifts from a racing title to a resource management sim. You aren't just driving, you're a strategist. The engine tracks tyre wear, fuel consumption and engine oil temperature in real time. If you push too hard in the opening hour, you're going to be nursing a dead engine or shredded rubber by hour 3. This creates a fascinating loop. You have to decide whether to push for a few seconds of lead, knowing it will cost you an extra pit stop later, or play the long game. It's this layer of forensic decision making that turns a simple driving game into an endurance test. You aren't just memorising the track, you're managing a system that is constantly trying to break down. We've looked at the tech and the AI, but how does Melbourne House keep you hooked for the long haul? The answer lies in a reward system that actually respects your skill. Every one of the game's 10 tracks features a specific target time. It's a mechanic that turns every lap into a calculated risk, as you race against both the clock and a ghost car of your own previous best. Beat that time and you unlock new high-performance vehicles, such as a Jaguar XR9 LM concept car. And the detail, it's relentless. Take the Suzuka circuit. It's not just a track layout, it's a near-perfect reproduction that even includes the famous Ferris wheel and the oft-omitted roller coaster. But the real elephant in the room is the endurance aspect. You can tackle the 24-hour race in one sitting if you want to burn the midnight oil, but Melbourne House understood the reality of home gaming. They provided the ability to save your progress specifically during pit stops. It's a design choice that acknowledges the weight of the Le Mans name, giving you the tools to manage the grind without forcing you to leave your console running for a full day. We've talked about how the game respects the solo player, but Test Drive Le Mans also delivered one of the most surprising technical feats of the Dreamcast library, a smooth 4-player split-screen mode. Now, split-screen on console hardware always comes with a cost, usually a noticeable drop in frame rate, and this game is no exception. But for many of us, that trade-off was worth it. Being able to pack 4 friends around a single CRT to battle for position added a level of chaos and camaraderie that made those endurance races feel like genuine social events. But the real legendary status of this game comes from the crazy few who decided to tackle the full real-time 24-hour endurance challenge. This isn't just about sitting in a chair for a day, it's about endurance strategies. Players have been known to organise real-life pit stop swaps, literally handing off the controller to friends at specific intervals, just like the real Le Mans. We've even seen charity events and community marathons built entirely around this single game mode. It's a testament to the game's depth, when a title provides a system so immersive that players feel compelled to organise their own real-world pit crews just to survive the full experience. You know the developers hit on something special. So, where does Test Drive Le Mans sit in the history of racing games? It's easy to look back at the Dreamcast era and see it through a lens of nostalgia, but the engineering here goes far beyond that. Melbourne House managed to do what many developers today still struggle with. They built a simulation that honoured the spirit of endurance while staying within the rigid constraints of 32-bit hardware. They didn't rely on gimmicks, they used efficient LOD management, a custom lighting engine, and intelligent AI to bridge the gap between arcade accessibility and simulation depth. Test Drive Le Mans wasn't just another entry in a bloated franchise, it was a technical anomaly, a best-in-class simulator that quietly pushed the Dreamcast to its absolute ceiling. If you're a fan of racing history, this isn't just a game to play, it's a case study in how to optimise against the odds. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the engineering behind the grid. If you appreciated this look under the bonnet, hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments what's another racing title you think we should strip back and analyse next. I'm Brian and this is No Drama Llama Gaming. See you in the next one.